Welcome back to Hoop City with Paul Sir here on Sports 1440. I'm pleased to be joined by my son, Steve Sir. Steve, thanks so much for making time today.
Thanks for having me.
Everybody who knows basketball in Edmonton, in fact, in Alberta and in Canada, and even globally knows who Steve Sir is. Steve, of course, locally, Ross Shep, great, won 2 provincial championships. At Ross Shep, Steve has held the three-point percentage all-time leader title for now it's 19 years, right? 2007, last year that Steve played at Northern Arizona, had been the number one ranked team 3x3 player for Canada for 7 years, is a coach, mentor, and still a player. So Steve, welcome. And let's get started with the fact that this has been a season of transition for you. You coach the Mongolian national men's and women's teams. You've worked heavily with the development of their program. Talk about what the experience was like this year as you were juggling, trying to still play, which you did, but also focusing primarily on coaching.
It was what you said it was. It was a big transition year. My responsibilities in Mongolia the last 4 years have involved a lot of coaching and a lot of player development work, along with playing for the Pro Tour team Ulaanbaatar and juggling those schedules. It makes for a busy time over there, but I've always enjoyed that, of a lot of time in the gym day to day and seeing improvement with not just the group you're working with, but other players as well. This year was a little different. As we were hosting World Cup in Mongolia, there was a lot of excitement and a lot of anticipation for that event coming to the country, and a lot of prep work that went along with it to make sure that we were as competitive as we could be and put our best foot forward to showcase not just 3x3 and how it's really loved in Mongolia, but how that our players are getting better along with it. So that made for a busy schedule, obviously. And I love getting in the gym myself. I'll always find time to get some shots up and do the things that keep the crazy away from me of just staying in shape and making sure I stay sharp. But the challenging part this year was there's staying in shape and there's keeping a rhythm, and then there's being in game shape, and there's being sharp enough to play. The 3x3 landscape continues to grow by leaps and bounds every year. The talent gets better, the teams get better, the level of competition continues to grow, and it's hard to I wouldn't say jump in and jump out, but it's hard to take extended breaks where you're not playing, and even though you stay connected to the game with a lot of watching and a lot of film, and you're on the court practicing, to not have that rhythm of playing events where you're able to put back-to-back events together and find yourself along with finding the rhythm that you need for your team. It's challenging, but that said, it was a challenge to take on, and it was one that I enjoyed. So it was a different version of what it's been in the past. But yeah, that's what's exciting about challenges. You take them head on and you see what you need to do to get them done.
You took the challenge head on, Steve, and you accomplished something from a coaching perspective that had never been done before in Mongolia. And by that, I mean, no Mongolian team in any team sport had ever won a medal in a major international competition. That all changed this year with a silver medal performance by your women's team. 3 years ago, this was unthinkable. What had to happen in order to be able to compete at that level and be able to come away with a silver medal?
A lot of things. It was, to say that we were ahead of schedule would imply that this was on the schedule. This was not something that I think any of us who were involved with believed is the wrong word. I think anticipated that we were going to accomplish, especially at this time. the message in particular on the women's side has always just been we need to keep getting better. And I know that sounds very general, but there's a lot of small things that go into getting better when you're talking about a sports culture like Mongolia that is doing a lot of this stuff for the first time. So it's getting stronger. And part of that was us identifying a good strength and conditioning coach to work with our athletes that we were very fortunate to finally nail down this year. With Toshiya Koyanagi from Japan. He was a real soldier for us. He worked his butt off to get our girls and our guys as prepared as possible physically. It's the recovery and treatment side of it that Craig Wilson from Pivotal Physiotherapy here in town in Edmonton was able to come over and work with our teams and with me to make sure that everyone's healthy to play. So building that infrastructure helped our girls get better. And then on the court, our message was always, we're not just hosting. We want to compete. We want to show that all the things that are going unseen, all the work that's happening in the gym where there aren't cameras and there isn't Instagram and all these pats on the back of, wow, you guys are doing so amazing. It has to be shown at a stage like World Cup in your country, in front of your people, in front of your family and all the people that support you. It has to be on display. That didn't mean that it was going to be a medal. It was just more in line with we're not just hosting. And that could have meant we competed and fought like crazy in pool and showed our best quality, and we didn't get out. But that was the main message. So there wasn't the pressure of if we don't reach this platform, it's a failure. To give the women their credit, they bought into that completely. They fought like crazy. We went an extended period of time where we didn't have an event leading up to the World Cup. So we were doing a lot of practicing in Mongolia. We're scrimmaging against, under 18 boys teams, whatever we can put together to give the girls some run. And there was a lot of nervous anticipation of, we think we're getting better and we think we're ready, but we're not quite sure because we haven't been able to push and run against who we'll see in the tournament. And then prior to the tournament, we were able to arrange some scrimmages with the Canadian women's team. We were able to arrange a couple scrimmages with Singapore. And we were ready. The girls were focused. The girls were determined. We had a women's series stop right before the World Cup where we were so-so. And I think that acted as a good kick in the butt for our girls of like, hey, putting our best foot forward means actually having the courage to put it out there and know that it doesn't ensure success, but you have to have the guts to put it out there and really leave it out there. So once we were able to, I think, get the butterflies out of playing in the women's series, then the girls were able to refocus for World Cup. And the rest is exactly what happened. They played amazing. They made the biggest plays during the tightest times. The amount of determination they had and the courage that they had to get out there and just compete was truly inspiring. And to see how the entire city and country in Mongolia rallied behind them, and not just them, the other teams that were at the event, other people all over the world who support the sport were all pulling for those women. So what they did was incredible. It was historic for the country. It's going to act as a huge conduit for change for basketball in the country, in particular for women. And now it puts them on the map in a way that a team in women's sports has never been on the map in Mongolia. And that's exciting to see because it was all through a belief that we could be better and the girls' hard work and determination to get that done.
Well, and watching from afar, the national pride that came out of that is exactly what you would hope would be the outcome, Steve. But talk about the way that that the country celebrated and embraced this accomplishment by the women, because as you said, this, to call it unprecedented is an understatement. This, some people have said it's the Jamaican bobsled team winning a medal, an Olympic medal. It's unthinkable. Like I mentioned the time frame 3 years ago that this was even a possibility. And the plays that the women made were incredible at the most pressure-packed time. It really was a real magical run, wasn't it?
It was. And, after it happened, there was a healthy appreciation for, we knew where we came from. We knew where we started. That whole idea, the Jim Valvano thing of where you started, where you are, and where you want to be. And when I got to Mongolia, and we couldn't win a game, it was a real, to say it was uphill doesn't really do it justice. It was a straight vertical climb to try and get better. And again, to give the girls credit, we had to step away from the result 3 years ago and say, okay, we have to focus on what we're doing every day in practice that might also not lead to immediate result. But if we think about this as a marathon, it's going to build to something. And to give our women credit, our two best players, Hulan and Nobutar and Aruka, Aryan Sensei, they bought into that. And they were very determined to fight through some difficulty, to fight through some change in how we played, to allow me to really get on them in practice, to really yell at them and really, really hold them accountable, because they were our best players, and the players that were underneath them had to see that was going to be the hardest for our best players. And they kept believing in that. And then slowly but surely, we won a bronze medal at Asia Cup. First medal that we'd won up to that point, and it was very emotional for the women. And then, 2 months later, we won a women's series stop. Unthinkable the previous year. And, I'd love to say from an ego perspective that it's all coaching, but I know that the girls had to really fight to believe that there was something better in this for them, and that if they kept going, that they were going to see results, not just with wins, but improvement in their game and improvement in how they played, and a pride that you could take when you go on the court of you're not just getting killed every time you get out there. So what that stirred up in Mongolia is exactly what you would hope that it was an immense, deep pride for where these girls came from and what they had to do in order to get to where they were. It was met with all the amazing things that you would probably have on your dream list of what it would be. There was, a city procession where the girls and myself were, met with the president of Mongolia, and, were awarded medals for accomplishment, meeting with the prime minister, all the heads of state and political figures in Mongolia that acknowledged and recognized them. This is the first time, again, that women have ever been awarded a medal for an accomplishment in sport in their country. And then all the other acknowledgments and recognition that came along with this of, events and ceremonies that could showcase just who these women were and what they've done for their country. So it was inspiring. It was extremely gratifying. And, going through all of it, you have to just step back and let the girls soak this all in, because it's a once in a lifetime experience. And it's fun to reflect on, because it was special to be a part of.
Talking with Steve Sir about 3x3 here on Hoop City with Paul Sir on Sports 1440. Steve, you are still playing, and in fact, you're getting ready to head down to Mexico to go down with a number of other Canadian men's players, and the Canadian women's team will arrive as well, and compete next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend in the AmeriCup. Talk about what you're doing, what you've done to prepare for that, what the week is going to look like in getting ready for this season-ending event. I believe it is the last event in the FIBA 3x3 calendar in the world. But talk about what's gone into getting ready for this.
Trying to make sure that you're prepared as possibly physically, make sure you're healthy, getting in the gym. We have a good culture for 3x3 here in Edmonton. So there's been, the guys locally that'll get in the gym and play and get shots up and want to compete and push, guys like Chris Mooney and Ryan Coleman and Lee Danderfer, the guys who've been committed to 3x3 locally and want to see it grow. So they've been amazing for me to get in the gym and just be able to work. Sabri Phillip, who was with the Stingers, obviously he's been in there as well. That's something I've always enjoyed doing, look forward to doing. I do better when I have a goal, when I have something to chase. It's harder to just get in the gym to be in the gym. even though you enjoy it, it's much more of a motivator, and you're able to have a narrower focus when you're preparing for something specific. Working with Craig Wilson at Pivotal to make sure that everything's ready to go physically, which has been something that he supported me with for the last 9 years, pretty much my entire 3x3 career since I shifted from 5-on-5. And then on the team side, our group that has been selected to go down there to compete, to have a condensed training camp before the AmeriCup, to get some reps together, to figure some stuff out. We've done a couple of video sessions online to make sure that we're speaking the same language before we get down there. And I think so far it's been very positive, and everyone seems very excited. I mean, it's a long season of 3x3. Everybody has their different journey and experience with this sport of, playing here, playing there, losing this, winning that. And now you get down to the end, and it's as exciting an event as you'll get, because you get to play for your country and you get to represent Canada and have an opportunity to compete for a medal, which the more you do this, it's easier and easier to understand that those opportunities just don't come around very often. So I'm excited. I know all the other guys and the staff that are coming down are very excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun and a real good challenge to try and build off of what we accomplished last year at the AmeriCup.
Well, and that's what's exciting, is now you're a year later and you've got players who competed very successfully in the AmeriCup last year. I mean, you were within a centimeter of going to the gold medal game. You were right there, and you won the bronze medal game convincingly. So lots to build on, but you have teammates who had a very good 3x3 season, and everybody comes back, like you said, hungrier, with higher expectations and a belief that those higher expectations can be met.
I think so. It's another good step for the 3x3 men's program in Canada. This has been a good year. Winning bronze last year at the AmeriCup was big. This year, winning the World Cup qualifier to make sure that Canada was at the World Cup in Ulaanbaatar. Those are things that we know that we just need more of, is winning events, getting at competitions, and having a group together that is preparing and competing to win. I've never liked the expression of, well, we're expecting to win. It's like, well, so is everybody else. What is anybody coming to an event for if they're not expecting to win? So doing the proper build-up and the proper work, and that's been done, I think, very well. And it continues to promote the growth of 3x3 on the men's side. Guys getting experience playing on the Pro Tour, which is invaluable. Being able to be at Challengers, be at World Tours, get the feel for it, see what the level of competition is like, and how the sport continues to grow at a rapid pace. It all leads to good things for the program. And I'm excited for it. I said that before, but it keeps coming back to that. This is why you do, want to do basketball, is the opportunity to compete and be in it and play at the highest level and represent your country. So it's an honor, and it's awfully exciting.
And Steve, of course, the Canadian women are talked about a lot in 3x3 with the amount of success that they've had. They had an outstanding year this year, winning numerous women's series events. Would you consider them the favorite going into the AmeriCup? And if maybe I would assume they are the favorite, but along with the Americans, are there any other teams in the AmeriCup that you think really could give the Canadian women a tough time on the court?
I think there will be. I have to imagine the Canadian women are going to be the favorites. I mean, until somebody beats them, they're the favorites. It's going to be of a different look with two new players on the roster, but with Paige and Catherine anchoring it, I think they're still the team that has to get knocked off. The Americans are always good. That's a given. They're always going to send 4 very good players. One country I think you always have to keep an eye on at the AmeriCup is Brazil on the women's side. They're always very physical, very, very tough and gritty, and they play a very aggressive style. This is an interesting event on the women's side because the women's series was over 2 months ago. So you're not talking about a lead in the same way that you're getting on the men's side, where there's Pro Tour events and it leads right into the AmeriCup. The women's series ends in the middle of September. You have almost 2.5 months, and then you're playing the AmeriCup. So there's not a ton of rhythm for the girls, which is important in 3x3. But considering the result the last couple of years, the Canadian women always do a great job of getting down there and getting on the same page quickly. So I'm excited to see them play and be down there with them. And I'm anxious to see what the level of competition is going to be like, because it is something that's slowly getting better in the Americas, but I know that there is pressure being put on the Americas in 3x3. It has to, as a whole, up their game and make themselves more competitive, and that's got to obviously come from within with most of these countries. And this is an opportunity for them to showcase it, and that's better for the sport when everybody's trying to put better players in it, have better preparation, and take it seriously as a national team level event.
It is interesting when you talk about that kind of gap for the women, and it will be interesting to see what teams show up and how well prepared and how they're into the 3x3 game. So very, very, very exciting. Now, the men wrap up this weekend. Talk about that event and who your choice would be to come out of this on top. Maybe give us the top 2 or 3 that you think, when the dust all settles this weekend, that you think are going to be standing on the podium.
Yeah, it's been a interesting year because UB had, I think, tied with Novi Sad for the total number of World Tour wins for a single season. So they've obviously been really tough, and I think they have their best roster that they have available going to this event. That'll be tough for any team that they get. I think Miami has been the best team on the tour the last 2 months. They've been at worst in a semifinal, and they've been playing very well. They're an awfully difficult team to deal with their versatility and how even spread there is with offense of most of their players, all 4 of them getting 4 or 5 points, 6 points, and then everyone contributing on the defensive end. So Miami might be the team that I think could get it done. But then, this has been as good a season as they've had for 3x3. You could easily see a variety of teams playing well this weekend and winning. The group that I played a couple events with, the Skyliners out of Germany, they've gotten better and better as the season's gone. They won Abu Dhabi. They're always very well prepared. They're battling out of the qualifying draw, but I think they have a good shot to get out of there. I think Rifa has a really good shot. They're always very well prepared, and if they shoot the ball well, they're tough to beat. So you could go a variety of different ways. But I think, again, that speaks to the development and the excitement of the sport, that you can make a good case and argue it, that every team there has a real pathway where if they get on a good foot and start the first day right, they could go on a run to win it. So if I had to pick one, it would probably be Miami at this point. But we'll see. It gets started, I think, late tonight, our time, early in the morning tomorrow for them, and it'll be interesting to watch how the season finishes up.
Well, and I think it speaks to what you're talking about on both the men's and women's side, that we've seen constant year-on-year improvement in the quality of play. The watchability of the sport keeps getting better and better. It's always been really a fun sport to watch. So my final question to you, Steve, is what's next for Steve Sir?
I try not to look too far ahead. Because looking too far ahead usually just leads to getting stressed out. So my focus is on the AmeriCup in the coming 2 weeks, and enjoying that and trying to soak that all up and enjoy the time with team and at the competition as much as possible, because I think as you get to my age, I know I still have good basketball left in me as a player, but I think it's also important to not to go into it thinking like this could be your last, but just you never know when your last might be. So having a good appreciation for just competing, being prepared, but also taking a sec to take a deep breath, look up and see where you are and enjoy who you're with. And then after that, enjoy the holidays, and then into the new year, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do. This is going to be a different approach and build to the Olympics for 3x3 because now you're having a 2-year window of points collection. So that starts next year. And as far away as 2028 feels like, that's going to be here in a heartbeat, especially when you consider that these 2 years are going to count for federation ranking and for qualifications. So you want to get off to a good start. You want to make sure that you're prepared. So it'll be a lot of video and prep and time in the gym and making sure that when March rolls around and Champions Cup and Asia Cup is ready to go, that we're hitting the ground running and we're ready to compete. So yeah, that's probably the best vague answer I could give.
Vaguely specific. Yeah. Well, Steve, thanks so much for spending time talking about 3x3. Of course, we wish you and your teammates nothing but the greatest success down in Mexico as you ramp up to play in the AmeriCup. And thanks for spending time with us today on Hoop City.
Thanks for having me.